So, the way it seems like weapons are balanced is a multiple framework understanding of what people are interested in Valheim. And this mostly stems from multiplayer, although there are folks who take this to single player. Now, what do I mean? So, most of the weapons in Valheim, and I'm thankful for this, are standard playthrough balance. So, you're just doing regular combat things, trying to be the best Viking in combat, and figuring out what goes well in which situation. It's pretty standard balance. Almost every weapon in the game has some sort of niche or general mechanical use that will make them the best in something. But some of them don't. Some weapons are completely useless in this framework. Some weapons right now just aren't the best at anything. And for a while I was thinking, like, oh, what? How could this be? Is there something I'm missing? Is there a technique? A place, a time, a space, a dungeon? Especially as a club main, I'm really interested in figuring out where the porcupine would be really good. And it still could be really good come the Mistlands. But at the moment, it's kinda outclassed by other weapons. Its purpose isn't with a standard balance framework. Its purpose comes to life with multiplayer. And so does every weapon. Every single weapon. So, the most obvious weapons that come to life in multiplayer are the DPS weapons. Now they have a purpose. Because now, control weapons, they're taking the forefront. However, once the enemy is controlled by, say, an Atgeir user or a Frostner user, then it's really good to have somebody really sick the DPS on them. You know, my group has a couple of sword mains. Crystal Battle Axe main would be really good. Flesh Rippers eventually. All of those would shine in multiplayer standard balance. Just regular combat mentality. But considering it is multiplayer, there can be a delegation of tasks. So, there are gatherers, there are builders. However, sometimes they have to get involved in combat, whether it be while gathering or maybe they get raided at the base. There is something to do involving combat, even amongst non-combatants. So, what do we have there? What falls into these categories? What do the non-combatants get to use for combat? And the answer is low-cost materials and weapons that take away very little from the overall grind and gather, so that these types of players can go back swiftly to doing what they love, which is building and gathering. And what I would have to say those weapons are would be things that are relatively low cost or are convenient and multi-purpose. So, let's say your knives, your spears, very low material cost. Your one-handed axes, very convenient because it has a double purpose, chopping down trees. That is nice. It is nice to have people who are non-combatants that can thrive with a certain weapon and certain styles. They aren't useless in combat. And I was thinking particularly, it's like, well, the non-combatants, knives and spears, that's a terrible combination for one person to have. It's like the spear toss has an insanely high aggro radius, and the knife is really good in stealth. It's like mixing oil and water. And then I realized, what are like the best builds? What's the best party dynamic multiplayer? Atgear main, Frostner main, Crystal Battle Axe main. 1, 2, 3. You have control in one way, control in another way. Control plus damage with a bunch of staggering with the Crystal Battle Axe. It can do all sorts of things multiplayer with ease. There's your 1, 2, 3. What does the difficulty slider scale up to? So when you have multiplayer, when you have a bunch of players in proximity, I forget the exact meterage, the enemy's damage and health scale up 20% per player, but up to 5 players. Now I listed a 3-person optimal combat party, but that scales up to 5 players. So this spear knife user, that's a non-combatant, doesn't have to be one spear knife user. It could be 2 people, that one of which is a spear main, and the other one is a knife main. And here we have 2 combatants to fill in the gaps of what the devs have designed for. Boom. Now the synergies, the addition, it's very DPS focused. So, we'll take it, right? They're not going to make it super optimal for non-combatants to have super OP weapons or anything. It's like, you take what you can get. That's part of the balance, a broader balance. But I think there are 2 more frameworks that we can work with that are present in the game, and that is being good in passing under a standard balance framework, and also a helper item, helping out framework. So we'll start with the first one, being really good in passing. What do I mean by that? I mean, it's something that's good for a short amount of time, but falls off later. I'm talking spears. I'm also talking the Abyssal Razor, the Copper Knife, just spears and knives up until a certain point. Does that sound familiar? Yes, there's the non-combatants thing. It's so that the group of people just starting out can get an understanding and can kick royal ass early so that everybody can get the base set up and explore what they need to in order to get their new Valheim world started. I was mixing efficiently and effectively, but both of those things. Knives and spears start to fall off a little bit past swamp. That's when in DPS, you start to pick up the sword. That starts to be incredible. And the silver sword, silver sword. Amazing. Best melee weapon versus 2 bosses right now? Like that. So good. So good. And it's got that really nice range on its normal attack compared to the knife. Yeah, it's quality. Quality multiplayer weapon. let's also look at the next thing. You know, nice segue there. But let's look at things that will help you out. So, a new player doesn't really know the mechanics yet. What will help you out to not die so that you can stay alive and learn? Well, heavy armor. Aside from helmets, tower shields. Things of that nature will help you out a great deal in staying alive. And so we have that covered. They become worse the better that you get. And then we get more into the standard balance framework. There is one more mini framework, and I'm sure some people in your group are like this. And that is a semi-combatant. Now, what the hell is a semi-combatant? A semi-combatant is somebody who is primarily a non-combatant. They're a builder, gatherer, what have you. Farmer. But they really like certain areas of the game that are combat heavy, like dungeons or bosses. So what weapon is really good for that? For that person? Well, I would say that type of player would enjoy clubs. They're very boss friendly. They're very dungeon friendly. Lord knows that the sledges are very dungeon friendly. And they scale with club levels, and they level club levels. And here we have the answer to my question all along. Where was the porcupine good? Here it is, semi-combatants. You can bring the porcupine to just about every fight. Every mob, except for maybe abominations. And it will do alright. It won't be the best for anything, but it's all reliable, and you can bring it anywhere you like. This is perfect for semi-combatants who just want to do their favorite dungeon or favorite boss. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was kind of rambly, but it's been on my mind for a bit. If you have any ideas for your own frameworks of balance for weapons, or is there a type of player that I've missed that weapons fit for, do let me know in the comments. And, well, I'll see you guys some other time. Bye!